Let's just look at a few examples, more examples, just to give you an idea. Let's look at the square root of 75. Now, I'm going to do this both ways, this problem, okay? And then I'm going to do method 1 over here, and I'm going to do method 2 on the right side. So if you prefer one or the other, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I find that typically there are fewer mistakes made if you use method 2 with the prime factors. That is a fewer mistakes. Now I know some people say, well, it takes too long. Well, that's true too. So that's up to you, but just saying. Okay, so let's look at the square root of 75. So if you're using the first method, you're going to go back to that list of perfect squares and you're going to say, okay, well, what one of those numbers goes into 75? Well, if you think about it, 75 is like 3/4, and guess what? 25 is one of those numbers. So we're going to use the number 25, and that's going to go into 75. So we're going to start this out by saying 75 is broken into square root of 25 times the square root of 3. Okay, and we know that the square root of 25, what number times itself is 25, would be 5. So this is 5 times the square root of 3. That's the answer. Okay, now if you break this into prime factors, and you take 75 and you want to break it into prime factors, you would just start by saying, okay, what two numbers give me 75? 3 and 25. 25 breaks into 5 and 5. There's my prime factorization. Those are the smallest parts that give me that. So I'm going to write it as a prime factorization. That's the first step. Okay. Second step is you look for pairs. Now if I look at this, I have 2 5s. Beautiful. Okay. One of those 5s is going to go out front. One of those 5s cancels out. Okay, so I end up with 5 times the square root of 3. Same answer, 2 ways of doing it. Okay, square root of 500. Well, I'm going to do method 2 for this one. So I'm going to take 500. If you're going to do method 1, why don't you do that while we're doing method 2, and we'll just see if we get the same answer. So two things that gave me 500, 5 and 100. Okay, 5 is prime, so we know that that's the lowest it can go down. 100 gives me, I could do 10 and 10, sure. Okay, and then this breaks into 2 and 5, and this 10 breaks into 2 and 5. So if I write this as prime factors, okay, I have all of these prime factors. If I write that as prime factors, and I'm going to write them in order so that the pairs are by one another, I have 2, 2, and then I have 3 5s. Sweet. Okay? Now, notice I have 2 pairs. So I have a 2, and then I have another set of pairs. I have a set of 5s. Okay? So the rule of thumb is take one of the 2's out front. Okay, so that's going to go up front. But guess what? And then you cancel the other. I have to do the same thing with the 5. I have to take the 5 out front. Okay, and I have to cancel this 5. And we know that the 5 stays in the middle. Now notice we were multiplying these together. So I have to take the 2 times the 5. I'm taking them both out front. I'm going to multiply them together. I have a 5 left inside. So 2 times 5 is 10. The answer is 10 times the square root of 5. Okay. Last example. Square root of 17. Let's simplify this. So let's break it into prime factors. And some of you are like, Mrs. Johnson. Guess what, guys? The prime factors for this are 1 and 17. 17 is a prime number. You cannot simplify this. It is already simplified. You can't do it. Okay, it's already simplified. You cannot do any more with it. Okie dokie. So last thing really quick I just want to show you. The next thing that we're going to talk about is multiplying square roots. Well, this is really basically what you just end up doing. Basically, if you have 2 square roots, you multiply them together. That's it. And then you have to simplify. So for example, if I have 3 and 13, okay, 3 times 13 equals square root of 3 times 13 is 39, right? Okay. Well, that actually cannot be simplified because nothing goes into it. The prime factors are actually 3 and 13, and know that there's no pairs. So that's your answer, the square root of 39. Okay, let's look at another one. 4 times 5. Okay, well, you could multiply these together and get square root of 20. Okay, but some of you would already look at that and say, okay, but Mrs. Johnson, I could simplify that. And you're right, because square root of 4 gives you what? 2. And then we have 2 times the square root of 5. So if you do it that way, great. If you get it to this point, you're like, I got to break that into prime numbers. That's okay too. You can do that. 2 times 10, this is 2 and 5. So this is 2 times 2 times 5. Okay, look for your pairs. We're going to look for our pairs. We're going to pull one out front. Okay, and one gets canceled. So 2 times the square root of 5. Regardless, you get the same answer. Okay? Last one, 6 times 6. Guess what? You get square root of 36, don't you? What do you know about square root of 36? Square root is 6. Good. Most of the answers will need to be simplified today, so you'll have to look to make sure that you can simplify. If you can simplify them, you need to try to do that. So for tomorrow, look at page 271, 17 through 32. Go ahead and take it home with you and bring it tomorrow to class. That way, if there's any questions, we can answer them before we hand it in, okay? Okay. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. My son's been sick. He's had high fevers for a week almost, and I hope to be there, but we'll see. So have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.